Perfect. All right, great. Cool. So we're back and good to go. Thank you for your patience while I do this. I actually haven't done a Zoom in a while. I used to be really, really good at Zoom, like we all were. Now I'm not as good as it as I used to be. All right, cool. So back to the slideshow we go. All right, so why do we choose concert band? Well, music equips your children with a confident voice to express their ideas and beliefs. It teaches them that they can achieve anything that they're willing to work for. And it's amazing to see the kind of music making that our children are capable of. It is really, really cool and incredible to watch not only them academically grow with music and understanding the language of music, whether it be the written or the spoken or the playing language of music. But also they will just make songs up all the time, and that's really what I want to cultivate, is them being able to express themselves through music. And then, like I mentioned earlier, when I was explaining my business name, music strengthens the corpus callosum. So you can see I just spelled it differently, the part of the brain that helps the left and the right sides communicate. All right, so many of you probably are familiar with the Suzuki method. Every year up in Beaver Creek, they have like this big Suzuki, this big Suzuki. I'm not exactly sure. I always happen to be there that week that happens. And it's really cool just watching a bunch of kids walk around. It's actually mostly like orchestra instruments that I see in this program. But nevertheless, this quote is really cool. So teaching music is not my main purpose. I want to make good citizens. If children learn good music from the day of their birth and learn to play it, they develop sensitivity, discipline, and endurance, and they get a beautiful heart. So I love that. And I do really believe in that beautiful heart part. I think it is really, really incredibly important. And some of the biggest hearts I know are the people that I know in the, that are musicians in the music scene. We just care so very much. It's beautiful. Okay. A few of these kids you might recognize from like several years ago. They're little cuties. I think they're probably all 8th graders now, which is wild. When you listen to music, multiple areas of your brain become engaged and active. But when you actually play an instrument, that activity becomes more like a full body brain workout. What's going on? Anita Collins explains the fireworks that go off in musicians' brains when they play and examines some of the long-term positive effects of this mental workout. So let's check this out. Make this big. Okay. Can everyone hear that? Can you hear it? Nothing yet? Okay. This is a funny thing how this.
Did you know that every time musicians pick up their instruments, there are fireworks going off all over their brain?
Thank you.
On the outside, they may look calm and focused, reading the music and making the precise and practiced movements required. But inside their brains, there's a party going on. How do we know this? Well, in the last few decades, neuroscientists have made enormous breakthroughs in understanding how our brains work by monitoring them in real time with instruments like fMRI and PET scanners. When people are hooked up to these machines, tasks such as reading or doing math problems each have corresponding areas of the brain where activity can be observed. But when researchers got the participants to listen to music, they saw fireworks. Multiple areas of their brains were lighting up at once as they processed the sound, took it apart to understand elements like melody and rhythm, and then put it all back together into unified musical experience. And our brains do all this work in the split second between when we first hear the music and when our foot starts to tap along. But when scientists turn from observing the brains of music listeners to those of musicians, the little backyard fireworks became a jubilee. It turns out that while listening to music engages the brain in some pretty interesting activities, playing music is the brain's equivalent of a full body workout. The neuroscientists saw multiple areas of the brain light up, simultaneously processing different information in intricate, interrelated, and astonishingly fast sequences. But what is it about making music that sets the brain alight? The research is still fairly new, but neuroscientists have a pretty good idea. Playing a musical instrument engages practically every area of the brain at once, especially the visual, auditory, and motor cortices. And as with any other workout, disciplined, structured practice in playing music strengthens those brain functions, allowing us to apply that strength to other activities. The most obvious difference between listening to music and playing it is that the latter requires fine motor skills, which are controlled in both hemispheres of the brain. It also combines the linguistic and mathematical precision in which the left hemisphere is more involved, with the novel and creative content that the right excels in. For these reasons, playing music has been found to increase the volume and activity in the brain's corpus callosum, the bridge between the two hemispheres, allowing messages to get across the brain faster and through more diverse routes. This may allow musicians to solve problems more effectively and creatively in both academic and social settings. Because making music also involves crafting and understanding its emotional content and message, musicians often have higher levels of executive function, a category of interlinked tasks that includes planning, strategizing, and attention to detail, and requires simultaneous analysis of both cognitive and emotional aspects. This ability also has an impact on how our memory systems work. And indeed, musicians exhibit enhanced memory functions, creating, storing, and retrieving memories more quickly and efficiently. Studies have found that musicians appear to use their highly connected brains to give each memory multiple tags, such as a conceptual tag, an emotional tag, an audio tag, and a contextual tag, like a good internet search engine. So how do we know that all these benefits are unique to music as opposed to, say, sports or painting? Or could it be that people who go into music were already smarter to begin with? Neuroscientists have explored these issues, but so far they have found that the artistic and aesthetic aspects of learning to play a musical instrument are different from any other activity studied, including other arts. And several randomized studies of participants who showed the same levels of cognitive function and neural processing at the start found that those who were exposed to a period of music learning showed enhancement in multiple brain areas compared to the others. This recent research about the mental benefits of playing music has advanced our understanding of mental function, revealing the inner rhythms and complex interplay that make up the amazing orchestra of our brain.
Neat. So they just do a much better job of explaining it than I would. And I just love that video. I also think the whole TED series is really neat. So now we're back to this. Perfect. Okay, great. So next slide, please. When is band? Concert band is an after school enrichments program, and it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays from right after school. But we have a time, of course, 3:25 until 4:55. So there is the built-in homework hour where kids can do homework, even though I know like a lot of fourth graders don't have homework, but I know they have reading assignments that they have to do, or they can quietly interact with their peers. And then this year they will be in a separate room for homework hour. Last year we had them in the auditorium, but we had a few behavioral issues, primarily kids asking to go to the bathroom and then just wandering around the school. And so we are making some changes to make sure that the program is really functional, and that we're great with the facility management at Corey. So always making changes to make the program be the best that it can possibly be. And that's just sort of the way we gotta make sure it's going on for everybody. So it's really important that your kids make as many or all of the rehearsals. I do understand that sometimes people have other conflicts that come up and things like that, especially in beginning band. An intermediate band is a little bit different. I've had students who only come once a week, which there's a potential of that with band, but I've done that with beginning band one time last year. But I would strongly suggest in that case that you did some supplemental lessons with maybe one of our sectional teachers or myself, just to make sure that your student isn't falling behind. Because that can be really frustrating for your student, and to see that their peers going further ahead because they're every single day, and then they're falling behind. But if your student works really hard, even one day a week, then they'll excel quickly. So essentially what we do, well, let me talk to you about this band. Beginning band is from 3:25 to 4:10. During that period of time, the intermediate band kids will be in their homework hour, and then we'll have a switcheroo, and the intermediate band will come. And at that point, if you want to come pick up your children, you can from 4:10 to 4:15. Our homework hour attendant will be outside to sign out, but it has to be out front. We have to have an out front sign out, so it's only going to be for that period of time, because then they need to go take the kids to the homework hour that aren't being picked up. And then at that point, we'll also have a pickup, of course, at 4:55, from 4:55 to 5, for you to pick up your kids if they do stay for the entire homework hour. So I've had a lot of different, situations for that. So if you have any particulars that you have questions about or anything regarding timing, you can definitely just get in touch with me. You can email me, corybandprogram@gmail.com, if you have any more specific questions, or you can ask right now once we get to our question time. First day is not next week, not Labor Day week, but the week after. It's on that Tuesday we start. And then every Thursday for the first 4 weeks, we have our sectional teachers that are there. And then they're going to switch to every 2 weeks after that. So I love to have them there the first 4 sessions, the first 4 Thursdays rather, because they really help the kids make sure, okay, I see what's going on for you. Let's work on your embouchure, which is the way you put your mouth in order to play your particular instrument. Okay, what do we have going on with your instrument? Oh, let's, teach you about reeds if you're a woodwind player, or I should say clarinet or saxophone player. Teaching about all these little intricate things so that they can really just jump off and feel confident on their instrument instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, what am I doing, right? And I just don't have enough eyeballs to be able to help everybody. So it's really wonderful to have such amazing teachers. So during the second semester, everyone in the beginning band will have a chance to level up to intermediate band. Anybody that's interested in this will need to take like a little test, and basically it's just understanding some of the language and then being able to particularly read music. So sometimes, like, people have already played some piano. That's a great example that they're already like, I can read this music. I'm feeling really confident on my instrument. I would like to go up to intermediate band to play some more challenging music. There's lots of other opportunities outside of Corey Band as well. We have something called Citywide. It's an honor band. We do a coffee night, like a coffee house night, where people can play some solos. I hook up with the Slavens band. I know Johnny really well, who teaches the Slavens band. So we hook up and we do cool events. Last year we did a Wash Park event for intermediate band. That's for intermediate band only. But the coffee house night is available for everybody. So a lot of opportunities, and the harder your student works, obviously, then they're going to find themselves with more opportunities and more confidence to be able to play. So next, this is the book that we use. It's an excellent method book, really tried and true, and it's called Accent on Achievement. So of course I chose the saxophone book because I'm a saxophone player, but they can be found on Amazon or directly through alfred.com, and they're pretty cheap. They're only like $10 or something like that. There's for percussion, they have a combined percussion one, and that's for the snare drum and for the bells. And that's what your percussionist will do right out of the gate. We'll be working on snare, primarily snare, to make sure they have really solid rhythm. And then they'll have the opportunity to do some auxiliary percussion, like the triangle and cymbals and other things like that. And then we'll really dive into the bells so that they can also learn how to read music, right? Not just rhythm on the page, but actually like notes going up and down in the scale and on the staff. And then I do mention, just go back here. And then I do mention that we will definitely be playing sheet music as soon as we're ready. By the end of the first session, the kids will have their first bit of sheet music. The most important thing is that they really start to understand their first scale that they're going to learn. Really, we go for the first 5 notes, which is do, re, mi, fa, so, right? And then we do the full scale. It's the B flat concert scale. So it's different for every instrument because different instruments are in different relative keys. And so we'll get that scale really locked in, and we play a lot of songs just with that scale. And then we start to extend and help them learn more and more and more notes. And then at that point is when we get the opportunity for them to play more sheet music, which is really cool. A lot of very fun songs that we have the opportunity to play. So, and I'm always growing our repertoire as well. So let's party. All right. So by practicing at home, the kids earn parties. where I bring snacks, we play games, and even watch cool music movies. And it's a fun way to encourage lots of practice at home. So it's a marble, it's actually a watering can, and they fill it with marbles. I like the watering can analogy because I really feel like it's them watering their own musical garden. So when they fill that watering can up with marbles, then we obviously pour all the marbles back in. It's very fun and loud, and the kids love putting their hands in the marbles. And then the next day after that, unless it's a sectional day where I already have my sectional teachers planning to come, right? And then we'll skip to the next Tuesday or whatever. Then we have our party, and they don't bring their instruments, and we just we, like I said, watch movies. We go outside if it's nice outside, and we just celebrate the fact that we are learning music and that we're getting an opportunity. Kids love it. They look forward to it, and they practice at home. So every single day they practice at home, they get put one marble in. So in between Tuesday and Thursday, they could potentially practice on Tuesday after school, after band, that would count. And then Wednesday, so they could put 2 in, but between Thursday and Tuesday, they could potentially put 5 marbles in. So usually takes about a session to fill the marble jar, but the more the kids are practicing, and obviously the more kids that we have in band, then we get that filled up and we have an awesome time. The kids really do have a blast at it. So something that I like to do just to make sure that we're maintaining the whole vibe of just having fun, right? We want to have fun. Of course, we're going to work hard. We're going to learn a lot, but it's super important to me that music, especially at this point, is fun, right? They can go to conservatory later and have a teacher that's doing all kinds of, really intense training for them, that, they have to work extremely, extremely hard. But when you're a kid, music is like supposed to just be fun and enjoyable. And that's really my goal. So all right, we'll have a concert in December. The date is still TBA just because I have to get it approved through the community use department of DPS. And so the way the sessions are this year for enrichments, the timing is a little kind of strange. I understand why they did it for like an actual fall session, an actual winter session, an actual spring session. It's sort of more related to the individual seasons. But we'll have the first session goes in through the week of November 9th. And then we take a break until after Thanksgiving break. And then we come back and we start December 4th, I believe. And then it goes all the way to the end of February. So it obviously has that break for the holidays and all that. And then we come back in January and we keep going till February. And then there's the final session of the school year, which starts in March and it goes until May. So that's how the sessions are going to be this year. And so in that second session is when we'll actually have our concert. So basically they're going to take some time off, practice their instruments, of course. They're going to come back. Our sectional teachers will be all ready for them, and we'll just make sure they're ready for the concert. And the concert will be like, a week or two after that session begins. And then we'll have our break for the holidays, and then we'll come back and we'll just keep on learning and keep on having a great time. So, the concerts are so important because they're really like the culmination of the work. And for when kids, I like to take a video of them playing their first note together. And then I show them how they sound just after the first session, 9 weeks. This session, and they have made incredible strides in just those 9 weeks of time. And I like to just remind them, like, you look at this progressing that you're doing, and being. Some kids are all about solos. All they want to do is play solos. And some kids are like, I don't want to play a solo. And either way is fine. I always encourage them to give it a try because I think it's really important. But it's not something that I require the students to do, because I know that could be like a really, really scary, anxiety provoking thing. And like I said, my job is to help the kids have fun learning music, not to like really force them to do something that they really don't want to do. So it could be the first time that your child's performed, right? It could be the 100th time. Maybe they're already doing dance, or maybe there's several different things that kids do, but it's an incredible experience. And I really walk them through the feeling of the nerves and give them some tools to help them feel confident as performers, because I know that feeling when I was a young performer. Very scary. Still, sometimes I get on stage and I get a little nervous. I think it's positive personally. It gives me like that juice to play really well. But the kids are so proud of themselves after they have that performance. Like they just have a light about them that you will notice, and you know, you'll be proud of your kids too. So, all right. So instruments, rent an instrument, buy an instrument, find one in the closet. These are all options, right? And so first thing you can do is you can talk to your child about what instrument they may like to play. If you head on over to the website that I set up, which I can actually just go to real quick, / Corey concert band. Oops, is that about right? Typo. Oh, bit. There we go. There it is. Yeah, cool. Instrument choices. All right. So we like to keep it simple. Yeah, for the beginning. And so there's lots of options for, of course, taking one of these instruments that you learn and moving up to a different instrument. And the examples here are from alto sax to the tenor or the baritone sax or the soprano, from the flute to the piccolo, from the clarinet to the alto clarinet or the bass clarinet, the baritone to the tuba, and then bells to the marimba, etc. Right. So there's always room for growth, and we just start with these simple instruments. And so I'm not going to play all these videos right now, but they're awfully fun to check out. So you can go ahead and just go over here, just click on this instrument choices rental. I don't know if you saw the website, but it is bit.ly/Corey concert band. And then, of course, you can email me as well if you have any questions about that, or if you need this link, again, I'd be happy to share that with you. And again, CoreyConcertBand@gmail.com is, I'm sorry, my bad. It's CoreyBandProgram@gmail.com. So somebody else started that email address. So I'm thinking I might change it to CoreyConcertBand@gmail.com. So it's all kind of the same name, but all right, got another person popping in here. Okay, so we're going to pop out of that and get back over here. So you never know what your friends or your family may have lying around in a closet or a garage, right? Sometimes there's real gold in people's closets. Sometimes there are instruments that need a lot of fixing, right? A lot of the instruments that we've had donated have needed fixing. So that's what we do is we'll have instruments donated, and then we'll invest in making sure that they're really, really top-notch instruments. And then we let the kids rent them. So if your child feels clear on what they want to play, like they're like, oh my gosh, I have to play the saxophone, or oh my gosh, Lauren, terribly played the trombone and she did the slide thing and it was so funny and hilarious. Or oh, she played, I came into the fourth grade classrooms and I played the Star Wars theme on the trumpet. And maybe they're like, oh my gosh, all I want to do is play Star Wars theme on the trumpet now, right? So maybe they really, really know. And if not, that's perfectly okay. So I have unfortunate news that Kolosny Music, the company that the music school, well, they do have lessons, but they're mostly music shop and a rental shop and a fixer-upper shop. They are closing at the end of this month. So like tomorrow, I guess, is their last open day. And it's super sad. They just can't stay in business. And so we've worked with them for a really, really long time. But unfortunately, they are no longer. So going back to one of the places that I rented from when I was a kid, Flesher Hinton Music. It's in Wheat Ridge. And they deliver instruments to Corey. So you can give them a call or you can visit their website. Obviously, you can search it up. And you can visit their website for rental information and to demo instruments. So you can just call them up or just head on in there and say, hey, my kid wants to is going to join band, but they don't know if they want to play the clarinet or the trumpet. Right. And they'll be like, cool, let's grab some demo instruments and just see which one you might like to, that you might like more than the other. And there's also no rules about sticking with an instrument. Absolutely. Unless you as a parent really care about them sticking with something particular. But I've had some students where within 2 weeks, they were like, I can't make a sound on this trumpet. I can't and they're feeling really frustrated. And they're like, I really just want to try the saxophone. So you can go back to Flesher Hinton. You can get them, you can switch out their instrument for them and then let them continue on. I wouldn't suggest having them switch every 2 weeks. Of course, they'll still learn how to read music, which will be great. But I just have seen that happen before. So that's why I wanted to mention it, that you can switch out the rental depending on what your child's needs are. So We have several instruments at Corey to rent. I actually need to do some inventory because there's a new music teacher at Corey, as you probably know. And she dropped off a bunch of instruments from that same donation company, nonprofit called Bringing Music to Life. And so I need to check out those instruments and see what we have. But we rent those instruments for $100 for the entire school year. And that's and that all that does is just go into the PTA. You pay directly to the PTA, and then when I get instruments fixed, repaired, or cleaned, then that money goes just directly to that. So that's essentially just what you're paying for, is the instrument to be cleaned and repaired as necessary. And sometimes that costs more than 100, sometimes it's a little bit less, but that's just our balanced budget that we have for the band program, to make sure that the instruments stay in good condition, and so that lots of kids for many years to come will get the chance to use it. So now we're going to meet our sectional teachers. Woohoo! We have a couple, potentially two new sectional teachers, definitely one new sectional teacher. I have a conversation to have with the saxophone sectional teacher. I play the sax. Oftentimes I was the saxophone sectional teacher, but I'm really trying to expand the program so that I can just float around and make sure that I'm pulling kids out individually that need a little bit of help with this or that during the sectional time. So here we are. We got Cora Chrisman. She is our new flute teacher this year. She is wonderful. I've had many conversations with her on the phone. We used to work with Catherine, but she is just too stacked with doing many other jobs right now. So she's unfortunately unable to hook us up. That's so funny I say that, to be with us for lessons this year. But Cora was recommended by Catherine, and she's just absolutely lovely. And she has her master's in music, and she's just awesome. So she has a website. I think it's just corachrisman.com if you want to check her out. But she is lovely, and I'm very much looking forward to working with her this year. Returning, we have Randall for clarinet. He also doubles as a saxophone sectional teacher from time to time, but his clarinet is his first instrument, and he's just really a lovely guy. And then we've got Justice Williams. He is our brass guy. He primarily is a trombone player, but he also plays the trumpet. You can see he's got his trombone. You can kind of barely see it there. He actually has a bass trombone, so he'll like really impress the kids because he'll like pop a button, and then all of a sudden, his trombone is like a full fifth lower, and it's really neat. And the kids are like, whoa! So he has a lot of fun with the kids, and they all love him so much. And then we've got Ryan. He's our percussion sectional teacher, and he's wonderful. I've known him for a very, very long time. I used to teach with him at a music school in Littleton, and this is like 2013, I think, is when I met him. Wow, can't believe it's been 10 years. So like I said, I'll be floating around on sectional days, helping individuals like with any kind of challenges that they might have. And kind of checking in with people reading music and things like that, and whatnot. So that gives me an opportunity to personally connect with as many of the kids as I can. I do that, of course, as much as I can when we're in our group ensemble lesson time, but sometimes it's a little bit more challenging. So it gives me the opportunity to really be checking in with the kids. I send an email every single week to give you a heads up of what we've been working on and what kind of stuff that I ask them to do for their home play. So I like to call it, not homework. It is home play. So we're going to be playing and just having a really great time. So these are all really wonderful people. They're all vetted, and they're all, and of course you can see that I have like a pretty diverse crowd, which I really like. I want to make sure that all the kids understand, that you can come from any background and you can be a professional musician if that's what you choose, but you can definitely have fun playing music. So I really love our sectional teachers. I'm so looking forward to working with them again. How much is it, and how do I register? All right. Band costs $286 for the first session. It's $16 a class, plus Enrichments has I don't know what their price is that they put as like an admin fee. I think it's $25 maybe that's added on to so you could do the math if you wanted to. The $16 goes directly into an account that I pay almost all to my sectional teachers. I want to make sure that your kids have the most successful time possible. And I recognize that as a saxophone player, primarily, I am not going to be the best of service to your to your flute player, for instance, or your clarinet player, right? Or if your clarinet, player's instrument just like a button falls off, I would be like, I don't know what to do there. But Randall, he'll come in and he will fix it right up, right? So it's just having people that have so much knowledge in that one particular instrument, and it's really, really incredible, and it helps the kids tremendously to have that time to work with their individual section. So band is now an enrichment program. It used to be a before school program, but for several reasons, I had to move it to an afternoon program. So you register and you pay in the parent portal. Registration closed really early this year. I was a little bit confused when I saw the dates, but of course, I'm just one of many enrichment providers. So I can't like come in, and say, what is this about? How come it closed so early? Because it closed the first week of school. Last year, it closed a little bit later. So I was able to actually get into the classrooms before registration closed. So in order to register for this session, you need to contact Joey. Joey is our enrichment coordinator for the South region of DPS, including Corey. So they're cool, and they'll get you hooked up with getting set up and everything. I'm going to send an email to them to make sure that they're aware that people are going to start emailing them to make sure to get signed up. So just give them about a day to get back, and just know that they'll get it worked out for you. They have to like reopen the portal and do some things. I'm not really sure exactly. Hopefully they can just open up the portal for us for, a little while. But I have no idea really how that works. So I just have to jump in with however they're flowing with that. So thanks for your patience with that. I apologize that I wasn't able to get into schools earlier, but it just simply was a timing issue. I didn't want to come into school the very first day because that just felt like a little too forward of me. So I waited until the third day. Oh no, that's not true. I waited until the fourth day of school. So thanks again for your patience with that as we're working it out. There's a chance that I may be disconnecting again from the enrichment program. If that's the case, then I'll make sure to get in touch with you guys in email, and we'll have a different kind of payment system that I've done in the past. I'm really trying hard to work with them, and being being really patient. We're trying to figure out, as they have a lot of new staff and everything too. So I'm patient with them, and thank you for your patience with them, because I do have heard from parents as well that it's not always been ideal. So my apologies for that. If I could change it, I promise you I would. But alas. Joey Cohen at DPSK12.net. Changed it to .net recently. So thanks again for doing that and being willing to do that. All right. Now is a great time for questions. So let me go ahead and get rid of this share, and then I can answer your questions for you if I didn't answer them already. Somebody did reach out to me, and I don't think she was able to make this Zoom, but I'm going to answer her question anyway. At some point, she somehow found information from maybe it was like an old flyer that was somewhere that said it was $85 a month, but that's like the old pricing from when it was separate from enrichments. So the pricing is that $286 for this first session, and then there's 2 more sessions for the remainder of the school year. So I believe, I don't know the exact amount that it'll be for the entire year, so I won't speak to that. But I do recognize that it is an investment, and that's why I like to explain to you about our sectional teachers and the reasons why investing in your kiddos is such a great choice. So I do appreciate you taking the time. So so I'm just looking on my email here because there was one other question that came in that I wanted to, of course, lots and lots and lots of emails. Got it. Okay, so Liz was asking about Girls on the Run. So I know Girls on the Run is the same. It was this way last year as well. I've had kids that split the time. They went and they ran for a little while, or they came to band and then they went and ran. So I've had that as a curious thing. And I also know that I think they're separate from enrichments as well. And so the times that they run are different. But I know that they have like a break during the winter time too. So, so there's a potential, like I said, of just splitting the time. We do offer scholarships too. I didn't mention that. I should have absolutely mentioned that. But we offer scholarships 50% off. There's really no questions asked. So if that feels like something that you need for your family, then please do give me an email and you can let me know, and we can make sure that Joey changes that price on there so you get that scholarship. But the answer is yes. And that's just so important to me to get kids going. That also goes for renting an instrument from Corey as well. Not renting, I can't obviously offer you any support with renting from Fletcher Hinton. But if you rent from Corey, then you also get 50% off of that as well, if you are in need of a scholarship. So just want to let you know that as well. All right. So those were the only two questions that we had. And so she said girls on the run is 3:15 to 4:30. So maybe, that they can come for band and then they can go run for a half hour or something along those ends. I don't know, it would be great to do the creative thing. If you wanted to be in girls on the run and band, you want to just do one on one day and one on the other day, then we could honor that scholarship price so that you're only paying for the one class instead of paying for two classes a week, if that makes sense. So, wow, I've just talked so much. Can I answer any questions? If you got one, maybe just do the little hand raise thing so that I can just kind of answer them, or you can just kind of just jump in and ask a question if you have any questions. I must have talked really well and a lot because there are no questions. That is awesome.
It does look like there's a couple in the written chat.
Rock, thank you so much on that for me. All right. So yes, Mary, a fifth grader who's new to the program would be with the fourth graders in beginning band, but they have the opportunity to move up into intermediate band so they can be with their fifth grade peers. But yeah, if you haven't been in band yet, I need them to be in beginning band first so that I can make sure that they have what they need to feel really confident with their instrument. Because if I threw them into intermediate band with the fifth graders, they would have a really tough time because they wouldn't understand what was going on, and it would be more frustrating than anything. But I actually do have a fifth grader that's going to be in not even fourth grade band, I like to call it that, but a fifth grader that's going to be in beginning band and intermediate band because he wants to learn how to play the flute. So he's going to play the flute in beginning band, and he's a trumpet player as well in intermediate band. So that's a potential as well if they want to continue forward into fifth grade as well, if they want to learn more than one instrument. So I'm all about it. All right. Jill, so thank you for asking that question. It's okay to be undecided. That's why
is drums going to be one of the instruments that they might be able to play?
Yeah, it's percussion. So we base it around the snare drum and auxiliary percussion and the mallets first. It's not a drum kit. If we had drum kits, it would just be crazy, insanely loud. But I bring my guitar some, and I play some of the accompanying parts on the guitar because I really want the kids to be able to hear lots of instruments being played together. But I'll tell you, Jill, if you want to convince your son, if you want to convince your son to play the trombone, great choice. We always need more low brass instruments than kids jump on. And it is like one of the most fun instruments. So that's all I'd say. And we have plenty of them for you to rent from Corey as well. But you can go check them out. Like I said, go over to Fletcher Hinton, or you could check out Colossally and see if they have any options. Because I just know that they're literally getting ready to close their doors. But you can go to Fletcher Hinton and you can say, hey, I want to demo some instruments, and he can get a chance. But he doesn't really have to. I want them to have their instrument, their first one that they're going to try by the first week of band, which is the week of September 12th. So about let's see, what's today? Today's Wednesday. So about 2 weeks. So that's some time to really check it out and dig in. You can dig into YouTube, and dig in. Okay, maybe he wants to play the clarinet. Let's just go crazy down the rabbit hole of clarinet on YouTube. Tons of really, really great clarinet music, or any other instrument. So yeah, Great. Andy, did I answer your question enough about the percussion?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. Great. Awesome. All right. So I got those two. Thanks for mentioning that to me, Tate, that there was two in there. Great. So any other questions that I can answer regarding anything really, payment or staffing or anything like that?
Also, you did mention the guitar. My daughter did take some guitar lessons, so we should be able to maybe do that kind of in between the other instruments also.
Yeah, I actually am going to work on, so most of the time you don't see guitars so much in band, but you do see bass guitars in band a lot. And so I'm going to start working on incorporating, I'm actually going to write out everything on the guitar because I don't think there's an accident on achievement book. But I'm going to write out everything on guitar, both on sheet music and with tablature as well. But I really would love everybody to be working on learning how to read music, specifically on the staff. I think it's a really important skill. And I can't tell you how many of my friends that are adult musicians now are like, I wish that I would have really worked and been great at reading music, because they're excellent musicians. They have really great ear training, all these other like details, but they don't really remember how to read music, and they oftentimes will, mention that. So yeah, if you got a guitar player that's like, all I really want to do is play guitar in band, then let's definitely talk about it, and let's definitely see if we can make it happen for sure, because I love that. So awesome. Sarah, thank you for that note in the chat. I appreciate that. Can't wait to meet Valerie. That'll be so fun. And Allison, same thing. Yes, you can take it to Flesher Henson. So they also fix instruments. That's kind of what's really nice about a lot of these music shops. I went to Rockley as a kid. It's down on Colfax. It is gone now. The building's still there, but it's just like empty. And so these music shops are kind of closing, which is pretty sad. But Flesher is similar to Kolosny and Rockley in the way that they have a rental program. It's a rent to own program. So every single dollar that you spend renting the instrument goes literally straight into buying it. So I can't remember, it depends on the instrument, but it takes like a couple of years to fully pay off the instrument, but then it's yours and you can do whatever you want to do with it, whether your child is continuing to play, ideally, or you can sell it online or something like that if your child decides to go a different direction. But they also repair the instruments too. So your kids, play on the saxophone or any other instrument and like wax it on something and like a key falls off, which these things happen. So we don't have to like freak out about it, right? Just take it on over to the shop and they'll fix it for you, usually on the spot. If you rented an instrument from them, they don't make you wait. Sometimes there is a little bit of a wait to get an instrument tuned up. But I talked to Barry, who's the guy that fixes instruments there. And he told me, he's like, if you come in and your instrument is just going to be like kind of a quick little tune up, then I usually can just do it right on the spot for you. But if it like needs a full repad or something like that, which does happen, then you can wind up having to wait a couple of weeks for your instrument to be fully fixed. So yeah, Andy just popped out, but thank you. Great. Cool. All right. Awesome. Wonderful. Any other questions that I can answer for you guys? And like I said, you can always email me later, corybandprogram@gmail.com. That website is bit.ly/Cory Concert Band. Sorry for the discrepancy there. Maybe I'll just change it to Cory Band Program, but that way you can ask any more questions that you have. I can get you any more information that you might need. Unfortunately, with enrichments, one of the things that they have, which is like a FERPA regulation, is that they cannot release any of the information of the parents or the child's names to me until the first day. So like, I can't reach out to you on the first day. I totally will. Hi. I totally will be like communicating with you. And once I have a sign up, then I'll get everyone's email addresses so that I can be communicating with you really effectively. But several of you have texted me already, so you have my number. It's pretty easy to find, or you can email me if you have any questions. If you call me and I don't have your number saved, then I might not answer, but you can just leave me a message or shoot me a text. Just, you know how the spam is these days. So, great. So if there aren't any other questions, then I'll let you go. Have the rest of your evening here. Super appreciate you taking the time to inquire about band. I sure hope that I answered any questions that you had, and that I got you really excited about joining band and getting and just having a great time learning music. And we sure do have a great time. You can ask anybody. So thanks again for taking the time. And once I get this recording mixed down, I'll put it as a link on YouTube on the website as well. So if you want to go back and check out any information or any of the slides or anything like that, it'll be online on the website in, I don't know, it usually takes like a couple of hours for, you know, between the download and the upload and the things. So thanks again. Appreciate y'all. Peace and love. I hope you have a really wonderful rest of your evening, and I look forward to seeing your kiddos in band. Cool. Thanks so much. Bye.